What's up? It's your boy Broke and Famous coming at you with another one. This is Vintage Kicks Gallery, and today we're going to tell you how to buy 1985 Jordan 1s, more specifically the Chicago colorway. So here's how it's going to work. We're going to do these buyer's guides, kind of give you a buyer's education on the 1985 Jordan 1 lineup. So we'll try to do one video per colorway. After all, these colorways warrant different markets, different prices. You really need to study the one you're interested in. Otherwise, you're just going to get confused. So let's get started with the 1985 Jordan 1 Chicago. First thing you want to determine is your price range. So these range anywhere from $350 to $450 to $750 to $1,500 to $3,500 plus in the box with everything. So as you can see, there's a wide variation here. So how does one determine the price? Interesting. We're going to get to that at the very end, and we're going to kind of go through it as we go along. But there are certain things that certain buyers care about, other ones don't. And the best way to buy is to figure out the ways to use that to your advantage. So let's, for instance, say you want to buy these to wear. Yes, you can wear a 35-year-old shoe. Jordan 1s don't crumble. They do, however, harden in the heel area and harden in the soles, which then turns into sole cracking, sole breaking. It's not a good look. So the first thing you're going to want to look at is the sole. Is it crunchy? Is it soft? It should feel just like a rubber sole from anything else. You want to be able to flex it. Once you've established that, you then look for hairline cracks. Minor hairline cracks are no big deal. They're actually pretty common with these colorways. But if you start to see one that goes down through the outsole tread, anything along here, then you know to stay away from it. The next thing I want to talk about is the heel padding. Okay, this is big if you plan on wearing them because it does add to the comfort or take away from it. When you ask your seller specific questions, make sure you ask first, how are the collars? Are they crunchy? Are they soft? Are they firm? Are they hard? What do they feel like? If you have a good seller that's honest, they're going to tell you. Now, the vast majority of 1985s at this point have some degree of crunch in them. There are, however, specimens out there that are still soft, supple, and firm. Those are the ones that are going to cost you a little bit more money, but if you plan on wearing, you can make up for it. Okay, so let's talk about the other things you want to worry about when you're talking to the buyer for the first time. We've asked about the soles. We've asked about the heel collars. Now let's get into something that we wouldn't naturally think about. The shoelaces and the insoles. Why is that a big deal? Because you can use it to your advantage to get a better discount if it's not something you care about. If you see a pair that does not have OG insoles, does not have OG laces, you can subtract 50 bucks from it. Make them an offer. It matters to some people, it doesn't to others. But you have to decide whether that's going to bother you, use it to your advantage, or only look at pairs that have OG laces and OG insoles. But it's definitely something to keep on your mind. The next most obvious thing is going to be the collars themselves. So as you see, we have two pairs here by different factories. Certain factories are more prone to losing the black coloring along the collars. So as you can see, this one's still intact. This one has lost most of it. What you can do if this happens is you can paint them, you can dye them, you can do a number of things, but they're never going to be original again. The unfortunate part about wearing 1985s is they're going to do this eventually. So if that's a deal breaker for you liking this shoe, keep that in mind before you go out and spend a lot of money. They're going to crack. All right, let's talk about what you can and can't do to a 1985 Jordan 1. You can get a shoe in this condition and turn it into this condition with relative ease. So what you'll notice is that the uppers of a Jordan 1 from 85 is about as high quality as you can get. These things are resilient. They come back to life so much. Even without paint, you can use shoe polishes, you can use dyes, there's plenty of other stuff. For those of you that stray away from paint, that's fine. But you can achieve an OG match as well. These hard creases, they come out with ease and they don't leave any imprints on there. Shapes that are smashed, everything like that, you can fix it. You can even fix worn soles and that padding we talked about. It's just very expensive. How expensive? it's going to run you 300, 350 bucks when it's all said and done. You have to pay for the sole swap. You have to pay for the heel collar to be cut down, the whole thing taken apart. You have to pay to get the foam removed, the foam replaced, and then all put back together. It's something you have to budget if you're buying a pair that you think is going to need that in the future. Don't make the mistake of buying a very worn pair and not anticipating to have to pay that later on. Okay, let's talk about deal breakers, or deal breakers to me. Number one is going to be a badly damaged Wings logo. So, as you can see, the Wings logo on here is pretty badly damaged. It's borderline to the point that I don't like it. That being said, this one's fine. The reason why this is a deal breaker to me is once they hit a certain point, there's no fixing them. Yes, you can stencil them. Yes, you can do them by hand, but they never quite look OEM OG, and that bothers me. The next deal breaker for me is a badly cracked swoosh or check. This one's starting to fray, but it's still fine. It's nourished. It hasn't dried out. When these start to crack, they really flake and they look bad. It's something you can't replace again, otherwise you're going to know. Let's talk about fakes. Are there fakes of 1985 Jordan 1s? Unfortunately, the answer is yes. Are they as good as today's fakes? That's debatable. Here's what to look for when spotting a 1985 bootlegger fake. The main thing you want to hone in on is the check or the swoosh. So notice this distinct material that these 1985s are made out of. It's a vinyl, plastic, synthetic, leather, whatever you want to call it. It's very, very distinct and identifiable. If you have a pair that has leather or is soft vinyl, anything like that, you know to stay away from them. Also, examine the size of these checks. Most of the bootlegs from that era have smaller checks or really oddly cut ones. So that's the main giveaway. Know that and you'll spot 90% of them. All right, let's talk about where you can buy these. You can currently find these online at a few select retailers that are now dealing in 1985s. I would recommend Dog's Foot from Japan, Worm from Tokyo. Net Magnetism has been increasing their 85s that they're posting. All of these are great sellers. There's more of them out there as well. I would say if you can afford it and you have the patience, deal with somebody that's established in 85s already. They know how to answer these questions authentically and they're going to find you a good pair. If you must, you can look on eBay. You're going to find a ton of different pairs in a ton of different beat conditions. Take your time, ask the questions, negotiate, and find yourself a pair that you feel comfortable. The final thing I want to touch on here is the sizing. Perhaps the most important part if you plan on wearing them. The sizing for a 1985 Jordan 1 differs from today's retros by almost a full size. It's a full half size and then some. If you don't size up a minimum of a half, I recommend a full. This pair is not going to fit you. They are going to be so tight, so stiff, so rigid, you are never going to want to wear them. Keep that in mind when you look at 85s. Speaking of sizes, unfortunately, the sizes make a pretty big difference on the price of the shoe. If you have bay sizes, so to say, they're generally the higher priced for modern day sneakers. With 85s, it's different. Those are the low priced. When you start to get into the size 10, 11, 12, the moderate to large sizes, you're talking money sizes in these pairs. Then you hit the threshold, you go too far, and the prices start to drop. So keep that in mind when you establish your price range. If you have a money size, expect to pay more. Okay guys, one more thing. Let's talk about the value added stuff that most collectors aren't going to care about, especially if you're going to wear these shoes. Number one being the box. Did you know a box can transform an $800 pair into a $1,500 pair if they match? How about that hang tag, that piece of cardboard? Did you know those sell for over $500 these days in good condition? This is the kind of stuff that can make an ordinary pair exorbitantly expensive and really turn off buyers. Make the decision ahead of time. If that stuff's important to you, increase your budget. If it's not, don't worry about it then stay away from it. Save yourself some money. That about wraps it up. Let me know if you have any questions about these. I want to do these for almost every Jordan 1 that we can get our hands on because there is such a significant difference in price as well as what to look for when shopping for them. All right, thanks guys. Bye.